Today's passage is James chapter 2, verse 14 to the end of the chapter. James says, "Even the demons believe and shudder." This was a striking point to make. James is being rather sarcastic when he says, "You do well to believe in God, just like the demons." James is vehement in his view that belief, or rather faith, is not about intellectual assent. It's a lot more than that. We do that every Sunday. We say the Creed, a summary of Christian belief, in every Sunday service. But saying that creed alone does not make us a Christian. That's not all there is to it. James is looking for the "so what" factor. Okay, so that's your faith, that's what you believe. Now, show me what difference it makes to you. This is perfectly fair. Imagine I was to say, I believe it's wrong to eat animal flesh, and then sat down to tuck into roast beef. You would put me down as a hypocrite, and quite right too. A belief in vegetarianism and a vegetarian lifestyle must go together necessarily. You can't have one without the other. And James made the same point about Christian belief and lifestyle, or what he calls works. You can't have one without the other. This does not contradict Paul's teaching on salvation by faith alone. Actually, Paul was arguing against the idea that keeping the ritual law and all its details, including circumcision, would guarantee one's salvation. James would have agreed with that, but his point is quite different. He's talking about the moral life, about the moral law. Just as the Old Testament prophets thundered about contradictions between worship of God and a corrupt lifestyle, so James does here. Consistency is essential. He uses the example of Abraham, famous as an archetypal figure of faith. Abraham trusted God and the promise of a son and heirs who would build a great nation of descendants. When he was then challenged to sacrifice his only son, Isaac, that was the most severe test of faith imaginable. What was his faith worth? Would he act on it? Would he continue to believe in God's promise, even when required to carry out this act? Abraham passed the test, because he showed that he was prepared to obey God in this command, however little he understood it. He was stopped only a breath away from killing his son. By the way, we mustn't judge this story by the values of our own culture, but rather remember to put it in a context where human sacrifice was often believed to be required by the gods. Jesus once said, "It's not those who call me Lord, Lord, who will enter the kingdom, but the one who does the will of my Father in heaven." How consistent, then, is my life with my faith? This is the question we must each ask ourselves, and ask it regularly. What have I done today to show the fruit of my faith? What could I yet do today to show this?